Crafty fam, it's Alex Vanover and welcome back to my craft room. In this video, I'm going to be giving you 5 Halloween craft ideas that you can make with your Cricut, and each one is going to be mini tutorial style and they are so much fun. I cannot wait to show you how to make all of these projects. So let's get spooky. Project number 1 is glow-in-the-dark earrings using faux leather. Begin by cutting out the faux leather shape and the glow-in-the-dark HTV using your Cricut machine. Then preheat a Cricut Mini Easy Press to the second wave while you weed the glow-in-the-dark heat transfer vinyl. Once all of the excess is weeded out, then cut the HTV decals apart so that you can line up each decal with the front of the faux leather earring. If your HTV is the same size as your faux leather cutout like mine is, then you're going to want to secure the HTV to the faux leather using a couple of pieces of heat-resistant tape. Once your Mini Easy Press's light turns green, it's preheated and ready to apply your HTV. Place an Easy Press mat underneath your earrings as you move the Mini Easy Press in circles over top of your HTV. The Mini Easy Press isn't made like the regular Easy Press to sit in one place. It's meant to move around the HTV in a sort of ironing motion. Just make sure that there's a carrier sheet or something over top of the heat transfer vinyl so that the Mini Easy Press is not coming in direct contact with your HTV. Once the HTV is stuck to the faux leather, remove the clear carrier sheet. And after that, it's time to attach the hardware to the earrings. So either use 2 pairs of jewelry pliers or a pair of jewelry pliers and a ring tool to open up your jump rings. Once the jump ring is open, add the earring as well as the hook hardware, then close the jump ring back again. Then repeat this process with the second earring. Once the jump rings are closed, now you're ready to glow. If you need more help cutting faux leather on your Cricut machine, see the full-length tutorial I've linked in the corner of the screen and down in the description below. Project number 2 is screen printing glow-in-the-dark t-shirts. Start by cutting adhesive vinyl with your design mirrored on your Cricut machine. Then take your transfer tape and stick it to the table to remove as much tack as possible. Next, apply the adhesive vinyl to the transfer tape and cut the transfer tape off of the roll. In this step, burnish with just your fingers to stick the vinyl to the transfer tape. Next, grab your screen printing screen. I'm going to be using my 12-inch by 18-inch screen. And then flip it over so that the backside is facing you. Remove the adhesive vinyl from the backing and apply it to the back of the screen carefully so that there are no wrinkles. Then use your squeegee tool to burnish the vinyl over top of the screen, on the back, and then flip it over and burnish using your squeegee from the front of the screen as well. Once it's well stuck down, then you can remove the transfer tape from the back of the vinyl. Then I usually burnish one more time on the front of the screen using my squeegee. Next, apply the painter's tape to the screen around the vinyl to keep any stray ink from coming through the design and getting onto your shirt. I like to put the tape on the top and bottom of the vinyl sheet so none of it seeps out on that side, and along both sides with the tape overlapping so that it doesn't allow any ink to come through. If your shirt is wrinkled, be sure to press out the wrinkles where the screen printing ink is going to be applied. And you may want to lint roll the shirt as well if you've had it in storage for a while. Next, line up your screen on your shirt. For a V-neck, I like my design to be about 1.5 inches below the neckline. Next, grab your glow-in-the-dark screen printing ink and place a generous amount of the ink at the top of the screen with your plastic spoon. Then use your squeegee to drag down the ink using an even medium pressure. I really should have used less pressure on the black shirt to allow more ink through the screen, but oh well, that's a lesson learned. Once I'm finished, I'll add a hanger to the shirt and allow it to dry without touching it. For the second shirt, I'll place my screen with the design about 3 inches or 3 fingers length below the collar of the screen and repeat the screen printing process. This time I did a few extra passes with my squeegee and used less pressure on the squeegee to allow more ink to come through my screen. And as you can see, the ink was much brighter on the light pink shirt, also due to the color. I think that the lighter and medium colors work best with glow-in-the-dark screen printing ink. Once you're done with screen printing, close up your ink jar and remove the vinyl and wash your screen, squeegee, and spoon as quickly as you can after you're finished. Once the shirts have dried, it's time to heat set the ink to make the ink permanent. Heat set the ink at 320 degrees for 40 seconds. You can heat set using heat press, easy press, or an iron. Since I am using a 9x9 easy press on a 10-inch by 10-inch design, I am heat setting both shirts in 2 sets to ensure the entire design gets covered with the heat. Once the heat setting is finished, it's just as permanent as heat transfer vinyl without the stiff HTV feel for those larger designs. If you need more help with screen printing, check out the full glow-in-the-dark screen printing tutorial that I've linked in the corner of the screen and down in the description below. So our third Halloween project idea is going to be a spider web luminary, and we're going to find this in the pre-made projects within Cricut Design Space, so you do need to have a paid plan of Cricut Access in order to use this project for free, but you can also purchase this individually if you don't have a paid Cricut Access plan, or you can recreate this project for yourself if you don't want to pay for it at all. But since we haven't done a lot of projects together in Cricut Design Space, I want to show you how to find this pre-made project. So we'll start in the canvas and go to the left-hand side of the screen, which is called the design panel. Then I'll click on projects. And if you don't know what you want to make, you can use the drop-down menu categories to search for different occasions. But since we know that we're looking for a spider web luminary, that's what we'll search for. And tons of different options come up, but we're going to use this very first spider web luminary right here. And when you click on pre-made projects, one of the things I love about them is how much information is available through the project before you even get started. So things like the level of difficulty, how long they think it'll take, the estimated size when it's finished, and even the materials that you'll need to cut this project. Now you'll notice that it says that you need vellum. I'm going to be using vellum for this project because I already have some, but you can also replace vellum with wax paper if you prefer, and if that's something that you already have at home. Now, if you want to go into the project and make changes to the colors or the layers or anything like that, you can click the white Customize button. But since I'm just going to be cutting everything as is, I'm going to click the green Make It button, and that will take us straight to the prep screen. And since I'm not making any changes to my project, I'll just click the green Continue button to go to the Materials Selection screen. For this black layer of the luminary, I'm going to be using medium cardstock. So that just means I'm going to be using 80-pound cardstock from 143 vinyl, and the medium cardstock setting should work perfectly. But since there are some fine details in this project, like around the web and around the spider, I may have to end up clicking the Cricut button again when it's finished cutting to recut it again in all the same places. And as long as you don't unload your mat, that should always work perfectly for you if you need to cut a second time, just to make sure that the cuts all went through. Then for the orange layer, I'm going to be cutting this out of vellum. So even though my vellum is white, I'm not going to worry about the fact that the mat says it's orange. But I'll browse all materials in order to find my vellum cut setting. And I know that vellum is a custom cut setting, so I can search for it up here in the search bar. So I'll choose the vellum setting and then choose done. So I'm gonna hop over to my Cricut machine and cut this out, and I'll see you guys over at my craft table to show you how to assemble it. Once you've cut out the cardstock luminary and the vellum or wax paper inside piece, apply your favorite adhesive to the inside of the cardstock for the vellum to stick to. I chose to use double-sided tape, but glue would work just as well. Once the double-sided tape is applied on all 4 sides, remove the white tape covering and stick the vellum to the cardstock. Then, to put the luminary together, put your adhesive on the outside of one side of the cardstock luminary. If you're using double-sided tape like me, remove the white covering so that it's sticky, and stick the other side of the cardstock luminary over top of the adhesive and hold them together until they're well stuck. Add a faux tea light and you've set the spooky mood with your luminary. Be sure to only use a faux tea light since these are paper. They can catch fire with a regular tea light. Project number 4 is a 3D mandala of a jack-o'-lantern. Start by cutting out all of the layers of the 3D mandala SVG. The SVG that I used for this project is linked in the description below if you want to try the same one. You'll also need some small foam squares, and I recommend that you print out a picture of the SVG file so that you can see what order all of the layers go in. Start by putting all of the layers in order and flipping over the second layer, not the very last layer since it's going to be the background. Then add foam dots in several of the thicker areas where they won't be seen by the layer in front of it. There's no real science to how many I used or where I put them. I just wanted to make sure that they were hidden. I also found that it's easiest to use my stab and grab tweezers from 143 vinyl to apply the foam squares. Once they're all applied on the layer, remove the white layer on top so that they're sticky. Then flip the layer over and stick it to the background layer as perfectly lined up as you can. Then repeat the process for all the layers following this. You'll notice that the cuts get thinner every single layer to really give the mandala that 3D look. The only way that you can really mess up this project is by forgetting to flip each layer over before applying the foam squares, which would make you apply the foam squares on the wrong side. So that's why you see me flip it onto the mandala correctly before flipping it back over before I start applying squares to each layer. This project is perfect for beginners, and it's great if you have a huge stash of paper like me that you really want to use up. These layered mandalas use a ton of paper, but they're beautiful and so addictive. Once the mandala is assembled, it's time to decide where to display it. I chose an 8" by 8" shadow box. Start by putting the background of the shadow box on the table with a piece of decorative paper cut to the same size as the shadow box over top. Next, lay the frame over top of the background paper. Remember that it is smaller than the actual shadow box frame. My frame was about 7.5 inches wide, so that's why I made my mandala 7¼ inches wide. Then I'll add some large foam squares onto the back of the mandala. And once I'm finished, I'll remove the top sheet to stick the mandala to the background paper. I tried to make it as centered as I could, but really I was just guessing there. Next, I tried to put the glass over top, but it ended up squishing down my mandala, so I ended up setting the glass aside and not actually using it for this project. Once you're finished, add the outer frame and then flip it over and push the clips into place to finish assembling the shadow box. Then you're left with a very 3D mandala and a beautiful way to display it in a shadow box. Project number 5 is a neoprene cup sleeve to use with a reusable coffee cup. These are so fun because you can make one for every season and change them out. Start by cutting out and weeding the SVG that you want to apply to your cup sleeve out of heat transfer vinyl. To make this one more interesting, I cut the ghost out of white glitter HTV and the headband out of pumpkin plaid pattern HTV. Start by applying the background layer using a Cricut Mini Easy Press. You could also tack it with your heat press. After pulling off that first layer, I realized I had to go back over it a little bit more to make sure that it was really well stuck. Once that layer of black Easy Weed was fully applied, then I lined up my next layer, which was my white glitter HTV ghost. You don't want the Mini Easy Press to go over top of your HTV without a carrier sheet. So I added the original Easy Weed carrier sheet over top of the glitter HTV so that it didn't mess up the black layer in the back. Once the ghost was tacked down, I added the pattern HTV headband along with the whole carrier sheet again, and I moved the Easy Press around the design to more fully adhere it. I ended up having to press the headband a second time so that the carrier sheet would remove easily. Since most things applied with the Cricut Mini Easy Press aren't going to be washed in the washing machine, I don't worry about making sure that they get exactly the 15 seconds of heat that they recommend. I just heat them until they seem well stuck on the neoprene. Once you're finished, you can add the cup sleeve to your reusable cup and you're ready for all the booze. So now that you've seen all of the Halloween craft ideas, which one was your favorite? Let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't already joined one of my Facebook crafty fams, I would love to have you as a member of one of my Facebook groups. So I'll be sure to link both of them down in the description below. And if you make anything using my tutorials, whether it's one of these Halloween ideas or something else, and you share it out on Instagram, be sure to use the hashtag DIYAlex because I love seeing what you guys are crafting. And if we haven't already connected on social media, then I would love to get to know you. So please be sure to find me at DIYAlexVanover on almost all major social media platforms. I'll also put direct links to all my profiles down in the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more just like it, then be sure to subscribe to the DIY Alex YouTube channel and be sure to ring the bell so that you get notified every single time that I put out a new video every single week. But don't wait for next week's video. Be sure to check out this one next. Or if you want to make your DIY dreams come true, be sure to check out this video. I know that you're going to love it.